one almighty student. Xia was lying on the hospital bed. He felt like he was dreaming. It was a beautiful dream. A female nurse was standing in front of him. Through the nurse's white coat, he could see a green short-sleeved shirt, a black lace bra, white stockings, and pink Hello Kitty underwear. For a young virgin like Xia, this was definitely a wet dream. You're awake. After the nurse checked the number on the instrument, she turned around and saw Xia's naked gaze. She felt that Xia's eyes could see through her. Xia had not recovered from the dream, so he did not reply. Instead, he continued to enjoy the beautiful scenery in front of him. The nurse felt very uncomfortable. She hurriedly left the room and shouted, "Dr. Li, Dr. Li. The patient in the intensive care unit has woken up." Quote, "Why did you leave? Don't go." Xia sat up immediately. At that moment, he felt a sharp pain in his body. "What's going on?" Xia lowered his head and looked at his body. There were bandages everywhere, and there were several sutured wounds. He was injured all over, and there was an IV drip in his hand. "It hurts. I'm not dreaming. Then what happened just now? Why can I see what the nurse is wearing under her clothes?" Just as Xia was puzzled, a man and a woman suddenly walked in from the door. The man and woman were both half naked in front of him. He could not believe his eyes. Xia closed his eyes and opened them again. This time, he saw that both of them were wearing clean white coats. Am I hallucinating? Xia wanted to see if he was dreaming. At that moment, the scene from before appeared again. The two half-naked people appeared in front of Xia again. This is actually real. Xia was surprised and happy at the same time. At that moment, a sense of dizziness appeared in his mind, and he almost fell down. Who told you to sit up? The stitches on your body have not been removed. Don't move. Dr. Li looked at Xia with dissatisfaction. He was a senior doctor in the hospital. The patient in this ward was different. The hospital's leader had specially ordered him to take good care of the patient. Xia then remembered why he was here. He was about to go through the college entrance examination, but his girlfriend proposed to break up with him. Xia, who was in a very bad mood, wanted to walk around, but he happened to see a little girl playing in the middle of the road. At that moment, a van passed by. At the most critical moment, Xia pushed the little girl out of the van, but he was hit by the van. The wound on his body was caused by the van. How could he forget what he saw? It was as if he could see through the nurse's coat, but he could not use of his ability. The dizziness should be the side effect. The side effect. The effect. Classmate? Dr. Li called out a few times in a row, but Xia did not respond. His expression suddenly became serious. It had to be said that Xia's situation was not good. If it were not for his good luck, those wounds would have avoided the vital parts. He would have died long ago. Now that the wound has been treated, the person seems to have become stupid. This is not easy to explain. The hospital has already told him that he must be cured. Can't you contact his family? Dr. Li said with a frown. Although he didn't have to worry about the money, someone had already paid for it. However, he still wanted to ask the patient's family if the patient had any medical history before. Otherwise, why would he wake up like a fool? His cell phone has been broken. Even his card is missing. The nearby merchants have also asked. No one knows him. The nurse shook her head. You deal with his wound. I'll call Dean Zeng. Dr. Li walked out of the ward. He had to explain the situation. The person Xia saved was not an ordinary person. She was the daughter of Zeng Ru, the most famous strong woman in Shanghai City. The nurse gently laid Xia's body flat and carefully retied the bandage he had just removed. His wound had just been removed, so it was not appropriate for him to make too much movement. Xia had been standing there in a daze. He did not say a word, but his eyes were fixed on the nurse's body. Everything in front of him was changing. As long as he wanted, he could directly see through the nurse's underwear. The woman's beautiful figure kept flashing in front of Xia's eyes. After the nurse dealt with the bandage on Xia's body, she left the ward. She was a little afraid of Xia's naked eyes. Xia had been stunned for a long time before he returned to normal. Now he was finally sure that he had a superpower, which was X-ray vision. No, the college entrance exam is coming soon. I can't stay here for too long. Xia did not want to delay the college entrance exam. Otherwise, he would have to wait another year before he could go to college. I don't know how long I've been living here. I haven't been back for a long time. My cousin must be worried to death. Xiaishan did not know how long he had lived here. He did not know who his mother was when he was young. When he was 14, his father died. From then on, he grew up in his aunt's house. Later, his cousin went to college and bought a house near the school. His aunt was worried about his cousin's safety and let him live with her. Although he rarely returned to the house, he would go back a few times a month. The house was not close to his school, which was why he did not return to the house often. Looking up, he saw the calendar on the wall. It was less than half a month before the college entrance exam. No, I have to leave this place as soon as possible. Otherwise, I will miss the college entrance exam. Since I was young, my father wanted me to study hard and get into college. I must live up to his expectations. Xiaishan tried to move his body. This time, he was not in a hurry. Instead, he moved slowly to avoid straining his wound. What are you doing? Quickly lie down. Xiaishan's room was monitored by surveillance cameras. When the female nurse saw Xiaishan's movements, she hurried over to stop him. The female nurse had a great figure and an extraordinary appearance. Although she did not have makeup on her face, she was definitely prettier than most celebrities. When Xiaishan saw her, he could not help but want to use X-ray vision to look at her. I want to leave the hospital. I don't have money to pay the hospitalization fees. Although Xiaishan's aunt was rich, he had never asked her for a single cent. His school fees were left to him by his father. His daily expenses were usually earned from his job. Your hospitalization fees have already been paid for you. You'd better go back and lie down. Your injuries haven't healed yet. You need to recuperate for a few months. Although the female nurse did not like the look in Xiaishan's eyes, she was still a nurse. Moreover, she was Xiaishan's full-time nurse. She had to take good care of Xiaishan. A few months? Xiaishan could not wait for a few months. No, I have to take the college entrance exam in half a month. I can't wait. College entrance exam? The female nurse was slightly surprised. She had also heard some things about Xiaishan. Xiaishan was injured because he saved the daughter of Shanghai City's #1 strong woman, Zheng Ru. It could be said that he was a good young man who acted bravely for justice. Moreover, he saved Zheng Ru's daughter, so Zheng Ru naturally would not treat him badly. She would definitely give him a large sum of money. With that money, he could go to any university he wanted. Where are my clothes? I want to leave the hospital. Xiaishan's attitude was firm. He did not want to miss this opportunity to take the exam. He had been studying very hard all these years because he promised his father that he would be admitted to university. Although the unemployment rate of college students was very high, and it could even be said that graduation was equivalent to unemployment, his father still hoped that he could go to university and get admitted to university with his own ability. Since childhood, his father had been very strict with him. Although it could not be said that he was proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, he was involved in almost everything. He even learned the 5 elements, 8 trigrams, and the Book of Changes. Your clothes have been thrown away. You can't leave the hospital now. The female nurse straightened her proud chest to show her determination. Xiaishan suddenly froze. 36D, black lace. Hearing Xiaishan's words, the female nurse was a little confused at first, but she immediately reacted. Wasn't Xiaishan talking about herself? Moreover, the size was so accurate. He even said the color of the underwear. She hurriedly checked her clothes, but did not find anything wrong. At this moment, she found that Xiaishan was actually having a nosebleed. Ah, pervert. The female nurse hurriedly covered her chest. Although she was not exposed, she still covered her chest tightly. What's going on? Dr. Li just happened to pass by the door. When he opened the door, he saw the female nurse calling the pervert. However, he immediately looked at Xiaishan because Xiaishan actually got off the bed and had a nosebleed. Who told you to get off the bed? You still need to rest. Doctor, I want to leave the hospital. Xiaishan looked at Dr. Li and said firmly. No, your injuries are not healed yet. You can't leave the hospital. Dr. Li could not let Xiaishan leave the hospital. Director Zheng had ordered that Xiaishan must be cured. If Xiaishan left the hospital, he did not know how to explain to Director Zheng. I must leave the hospital. Do you still want to put me under house arrest? After Xiaishan finished speaking, he directly walked to the door step by step. His movements were very light. He was still injured, so he did not dare to move his body too much. I don't mean that. Your injuries are not healed yet. If something happens again, I'm afraid that you will have a lingering illness in the future. Dr. Li hurriedly explained. I know my body well. Although my injuries are not healed, it is not a big problem. I will go back and rest for a few days. Xiaishan still had to go back and revise. Moreover, the X-ray function made him very confused. He still needed to go back and study it carefully. Xiaishan's attitude was firm. Dr. Li did not know what to do for a moment. They were in the hospital. Of course, they could not stop Xiaishan from leaving.